right. We promised you Donald Trump would join us, and he does right now on the phone from Milwaukee. Good morning to you, Mr. Trump.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, the big news is the fact that a couple weeks ago, Michelle Fields, who was at your Trump National Jupiter location on your victory night, she says she was roughed up by Lewandowski, your campaign manager. She filed charges against him, and yesterday the Jupiter police charged him with simple battery. You released, Mr. Trump, this video, surveillance video from the ballroom, because it shows what?
Well, it shows very little. It shows people walking around. She's grabbing my arm. She's not supposed to. She broke through Secret Service. She's asking questions. She's not even supposed to be asking questions, but she grabs my arm. You see me trying to push her hand off my arm. She's got a pen in her arm, which she's not supposed to have. And it shows that she's a very aggressive person who is grabbing at me and touching me. Maybe I should file charges against her. Maybe I should say my arm has never been the same, right? But she's grabbing my arm, and a lot of people have said this. What happened is she made a very strong statement like that she was jolted backwards and somewhat about being thrown to the ground. And unfortunately for her, I happen to have a security camera. You know, I have very good properties and have very good cameras in my property for security reasons. I happen to have a tape. And once I had the tape, I mean, she must have died when she saw the tape, because she was not roughed up. She wasn't jolted to the ground. Nothing like that happened. And, you know, it's sort of interesting. They want me to destroy a man's life. And the other two candidates, Kasich and Cruz, said, oh, he should be fired. Fired for what? And, you know, I don't do that. They're weak people. These are weak people. That's the problem we have with our country. They're weak people.
I understand, and I think that's admirable. You have loyalty to people, and, you know, you understand he has 4 kids. But do you really want your campaign manager involved in this type of security things? These are 2 incidents that's been a distraction to you. Donald Trump, you sat down with the New York Times and Washington Post and spoke for an hour. No one's talking about those stories. They're talking about your campaign manager. Doesn't that at least show he's stepped out of bounds?
Well, I agree, Brian, in that I loved the New York Times interview. I thought it was a great interview by a really great reporter, and I wish we could be talking about that. We're talking about NATO and how the United States is getting ripped off with an obsolete NATO. And a lot of people are now coming around saying, you know, Trump is right. Nobody's ever brought that up. And Trump is right. The money we spend and what we get. Right. I'd much rather be talking about that. But, Brian, this is something that was so minor. It was so, I mean, who would ever think a thing like this could happen? She grabs my arm. He probably pushes her off a little bit, almost not even knowingly. It's almost like a reflex. But she wasn't yanked to the ground or anything. And to think that that led to criminal. And I've been watching different shows, and I've been watching lawyers on different shows. And some of them can't even believe it, that this ends up being a charge.
Do you regret releasing the video, considering it got your guy in trouble and now he's, you know, in jail?
He's not
charged, not in jail, he's charged. Do you regret releasing this video, though?
No, actually, I think it was the opposite. I think if they didn't have the video, it would have been a much more serious situation, because you would have been believing her. Hey, look, just to finish it, she said, quote, I was jolted backwards. Someone grabbed me tightly by the arm and yanked me down. Yeah. She wasn't yanked down.
Well,
I almost fell to the ground. She said, I almost fell to the ground.
But why is a campaign manager even touching a reporter?
Well, he's following me, and she's grabbing me. Take a look at her hand. Yeah. She's grabbing me. She's got a pen in her hand, which she's not supposed to have. I will tell you, Secret Service can tell you that. And she's grabbing at me. So probably, even unknowingly, it's like a reflex. He didn't do anything hard. But if you listen to her, she was forcefully thrown to the ground, and you know, the whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. And I'm sure she wasn't thrilled when she saw her statement and then she saw the security tape.
Mr. Trump, last night, her friend, Ben Shapiro, he was the former editor-at-large with Breitbart, as you know, who left when Michelle left. He was on Megyn Kelly's show last night. This is what he said, and I want to get your reaction.
Lying liars lie, and this is the Trump campaign, where lies are told, and then lies are told to cover up the lies, and then finally new lies are told in order to cover up the lies that were told about the lies. Corey Lewandowski grabbed Michelle, he yanked Michelle, he bruised Michelle. That was obvious from the tape. Michelle told that story, Ben Terrace told that story, Corey Lewandowski lied about that story, Trump lied about that story, and now they're telling a whole new set of lies. Their story has evolved from Corey Lewandowski never touched Michelle Fields to, well, she sort of had it coming.
What's your message to Ben Shapiro?
Well, you know, my message is it's another Megyn Kelly hit. My message is speak to the lawyer on the other side, because he said, give me a break. This thing is so minor. It's so incidental and the lawyer, by the way, and I don't even know the lawyer, but the lawyer did an excellent job. And if you put his side on instead of this so-called reporter that said things that, frankly, he has no right to say, but I wish you would have instead of him, put the lawyer on, hear what the lawyer said.
Well, we just want to get your take, but they did have a debate.
Because the lawyer can't even believe charges were brought on this very minor. Think of it. In the world, we have people's heads being cut off. We have people drowning. And the bottom line for me, it would be very easy for me to say, Corey, you're fired. You take a look at that tape, practically nothing. Corey, you're fired. That'd be very easy. I don't feel like I want to destroy. He's a good person. He's a good human being. I don't want to destroy a human being's life. He's got 4 children. He's got a wonderful wife. Yeah. He lives in New Hampshire. I don't feel like destroying his life.
But a campaign manager should not be putting their hands on reporters.
Well,
Karl Rove didn't do it. David Plouffe didn't do it. David Axelrod didn't do it. He should. That's why you have Secret Service, and that's why you have your own security, who are great.
And you don't know if they didn't do it, because I guarantee you they probably did stuff that was more physical than this, more physical, because this is not even physical. And frankly, she shouldn't have her hands on me. Okay? Nobody says that. But she shouldn't have her hands on me.
Yeah, Piers Morgan did say that. Piers Morgan wrote an op-ed about that and did say that.
Right.
Just to defend Megyn Kelly, though, that was a debate. That was Ben Shapiro. That wasn't Megyn Kelly saying that. But let's move on. Let's talk about...
Well, it was her show, and frankly, you can have Megyn Kelly. But it was her show.
Well, she does a great job. She had a debate, and it was the top issue of the day.
Maybe she does a good job for you. She doesn't do a good job for me. And let me tell you, if she wouldn't report on Donald Trump, her ratings would go down in half.
That's not true.
All she does is
her ratings were through the roof before you ran for president.
Okay,
let's... Oh, really? And how many times was I on her show? She ought to stop reporting on me all the time. If she wouldn't report on me, her ratings would go down in half.
You're the top story in America.
Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about this. All 3 of the people still running on the Republican side, you and Mr. Kasich and Mr. Cruz, it sounds like you're all abandoning that pledge to support the eventual Republican nominee. Why would you do that, Mr. Trump?
Well, what I said, Steve, last night, we had a town hall, and I thought it went very nicely. I think, really it went well. But they asked me the question about support, and I said, I don't really care if Cruz supports me. It doesn't matter. If he does, that's fine. And if he doesn't, I don't care. I don't want to do something that's going to make anybody feel uncomfortable. The only one that's supporting me that I care about are the people, and that's, you saw the new NBC poll that just came out yesterday. I'm at close to 50% and winning easily. I think I'm going to do very well in Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin right now, and we're having a tremendous response. I think we're going to do very well in Wisconsin. We're going to do fantastically in New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania. And, that's all that matters. I mean, to me, I don't really care whether or not Cruz endorses me. It means practically nothing.
How do you feel about Marco Rubio holding on to his delegates? It makes it harder for you to get to the 1237.
Well, look, I think we're going to get to 1237, but, the one thing that nobody mentions is that we started off with 17 people. So when I get to 1237, which is half, I have to go through not just 1 or 2 people. I had to go through where we had 15, 16 people taking delegates, and it was, it's almost an impossibility. Despite that, I think we'll get to the 1237. I think we're going to be able to do it. But we had people, Brian, on the panel and people looking for delegates and frankly, in the primaries, where you'd have 6, 7, 8, and 10 people in the primaries. So it's a very, very high standard. Despite that, we're doing so well. We won, I don't know if you heard, but Missouri last night was won. So we won Missouri last night.
I woke up this morning and I read this story and it just broke my heart. It's a lady, she was the former Miss Wisconsin, and she is dying. She has a son that she is eventually going to leave behind, and she was Miss Congeniality in your pageant when you owned the Miss USA pageant. And I know that you've talked to her. What's your response? I think we have a picture of her. Here she is. She's not going to live much longer, right? She has some sort of a neurological disease where her brain stops telling her organs to work, and it's just a matter of time, she says. But her message to you was, because of your pageant, you are helping send her son to college. And as a parent, this just really resonates and hits home. What's your reaction to this?
Well, my reaction is she was so unbelievable yesterday. It was at the rally, and she was there, and she was pointed out, and she spoke. And there was nothing so beautiful as what she did. I think it's the most beautiful moment I've had since I've been campaigning for president. She's got a terminal disease, and she's got a terminal, she's got this beautiful child, and she's not expected to last that long. She was there last night thanking me. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen since I've been in the world of politics, I will tell you. There are some beautiful moments also, not just negative moments. There are some really beautiful. She is an amazing woman, and it was a very sad moment, actually.
All right, and she thanked you for writing to her when she was in the hospital, engraving a picture that said, "To one of the bravest women I know." All right, Donald Trump, thank you very much for joining us today
from
Milwaukee.
Donald Trump. We appreciate it. Brian?
Thank you.